the Italian international audience has come to know you as a versatile actor, as we were saying before, but with a particular talent for portraying charismatic and unforgettable antagonists. The villains we've come to love, from the crime lord Gas Fring to the ruthless businessman Stan Edgar, tell us fictional stories, yet still grounded in a complex social reality like that of America. So, how much truth is there in these character stories, and how do you explain the public's interest in them?
I feel like what I do is different than many actors. I do my best to bring a human being to the role. I believe that in many movies we're used to seeing stereotypical, over-the-top villains who exemplify characteristics of what we've already seen before. And I think what I've done with Gustavo Fring was I gave him a purpose in a way that was important. He had a reason for doing what he was doing, and he was a real human being who had the idea he could run the business better than anyone else. So thus his war with the Salamanca clan. With Stan Edgar, I found a way to represent corporate America. Stan Edgar is, although he's not afraid of Homelander, he's the representation of a man who's very, very, very rich, who's not afraid of anyone. Even this character who has these superpowers who could laser him to death. Because he's a psychologist and he knows that that man, Homelander, needs something from him. He needs to be validated. And so Stan Edgar knows that. So he treats them partly like he's a child and partly like he's an equal. But he has no fear of anything. So that's a human trait. So I think what I do is I bring humanity back into characters who you would normally see as one note. You see them fuller with more depth than you ever have before. In the Mandalorian, the Star Wars universe, you see a character who has been defeated previously, and everything falls apart, even after he's defeated. Here's another character who feels like he can rebuild this galaxy better than anyone else. And he has an idea of how to do it because he's smart, he's capable, and he also has all the information he needs. We don't know how he has that information. So again, we have a character who is a real human being. And I've prided myself on finding the elements of human beings in all of my characters so that the audience, that was your question, so that they can relate. If you see yourself on a big screen or even the small screen of television, and you see something that reminds you of you, something that you do, something that you've said, it draws you into the fabric of the show on an even deeper level.
Perfect, thank you. And now, passing to another kind of question. Think about racial tensions in the US. Back in 1989, you worked in Spike Lee's Do the Right Thing, which tackles the issue of ethnic divisions within the country. So, do you think the situation has changed from then to now? And if so, in which ways do you think it changed?
I think, first of all, I must say that I really enjoyed working on Do the Right Thing with Spike Lee. I love him as a director. He's a friend and colleague. I do think racial relationships have changed, but they haven't moved very far. I think our world has become even more segregated in many ways because what has happened with Ukraine and Israel has really, and what's going on in Africa with some of the poorer countries in the Congo and Haiti, is that it's black on black gang crime that's taken over the streets of Haiti. In New York, things are better because African Americans have risen. Like they've moved up in their economic scale, in their economic position. But I think there's a little more understanding between different cultures in big cities. But I also feel like the conversation in America has drifted toward immigrants. And so this is the new race war, right? And I think our politicians are harping on this idea that anyone who's not born in America is illegal, and that's not true. And so I think people are, I don't know what happened to us with the advent of the cell phone. I don't know what happened to us when We don't read newspapers anymore, or 3 different newspapers to get various points of view. But I think we're starting to become a people who believe what we're told, and by whoever tells us, allowing them to then be a credible source. And I don't think that that is a positive way to go about our lives. If you don't get a second chance to make a first impression. So if you tell me, Fabrizio over there, he's not a good guy, and I've never met Fabrizio, and then I'm already thinking, this guy, who are you to tell me that? And who am I to believe you? So we have a grave problem in America. Maybe I walk over and talk to Fabrizio, and Fabrizio seems to me like he's a great guy. And then I come back to you and I say, hey, I don't know about you, but I happen to like that guy, right? So we can't agree to disagree anymore, and we also can't form our own opinion. That's what's happening in America. I can tell you how to act, tell you how to feel, and you're just gonna go with it because you believe what I'm telling you. It's laziness. It's to be lazy. If you ask me a question right now that I can't answer, I'm gonna go on for 10 minutes to try to answer you, even if I don't know the answer. That's not true. That's lazy too. Instead of saying, hey, can you ask me tomorrow. I gotta go home and do my research. I gotta see how I feel about it. So people aren't mindful or thoughtful anymore. We're just looking for quick answers. Well, why wouldn't we be? When we have a cell phone, they can give us the answer like that if we don't know it. I don't need to know it. The phone needs to know it. This is the wrong way to live. It's better to talk about things and gain information in different ways. We're here at the School of American Studies, and I've never seen a library as extensive as this. That library is for us to gain knowledge. And we can gain that knowledge, then go away and have it work on us, and then we make our own opinion. We form our own ideas from genius and masterful ideas that have been handed down historically. Our ideas don't have to follow what those ideas are, but they could turn something over in our brain that allow us to all of a sudden go, oh, wait a minute, I have a new thought, a new idea, a new contribution.
Right, so you anticipated a lot of points of the next question, because I'm going to politics for a moment, because the US is approaching the presidential election at a time when America seems to be divided by extremely polarized positions, with more and more public figures openly supporting one of the 2 candidates. So what is the general atmosphere in the US right now, in your opinion?
I feel like we're in a horse race for the election, and the U.S. is bifurcated, split down the middle. And I think that this election, the last election, but prior to the last election, split the community of human beings because no one would agree to disagree. Instead, they agreed to hate. We're in a very delicate position in the United States in that this election is very, very important for people to keep their humanity, and for people not to just be hateful, and for people to understand that many times they're not hearing the truth from either party. So then you have no real, viable choice to make for someone who's going to lead the country. You have to always be choosing the lesser of 2 evils. But we're in a position now where I think Americans partly are hopeful, and the other part of America has ingested the rhetoric that America is going to pot, that it's a horrible place, that people are eating animals, that people are killing each other all the time. The murder rate is down all across America, lower than it's ever been. Like crime in New York, crime in Chicago, these are numbers that are true. You can look them up. So there are less murders and less violent crime than there's ever been in history in many of the major cities in America. Yet, the world is being told that it's completely the opposite. That's a lie. So the Americans are being told to hate government. Now, isn't that what we should hate? Like if you don't like who's leading Rome, you didn't like Berlusconi, you don't like this, right? Then you're taught to use your voice to say something about it, and to rise up and change it. And in America, many people are being taught to be suspect of government. And that's a horrible thing. Yes, government operates a certain way because it's been trained to do so, and it needs to be revamped and rehauled. But you have to trust your choices, and you have to trust that you can change and start to change how government works if you use your voice. People don't want to use their voice. People are lazy. Many people, they just want to be guided and told what to do. And that's the unfortunate part of what's going on in America today.
I fully understand. Thank you for this insight, because it is very interesting to hear it from you. So now, moving to the last question. Of course, we talked about quick answers. We are going to have a quick answer in a few weeks, which will be the next president of the United States. And you hold both US and Italian citizenship. What are your thoughts on relations between Europeans and Americans at a time when the world is marked, as we were saying, by wars and crises? Do you think that the relations between Europe and the US may worsen in the event of a re-election of Donald Trump?
I do think it's possible with his ties to Putin and his praise for Orban. And I think that the Europeans look at our American politics these days as a bit of a joke. However, you know, in London, in Italy, in the Netherlands, the world is depending on America to be sensible. Because of trade, it's very, very important that America still be the strong leader that it is. But we're being threatened with the possibility of a dictatorship, or at least running the government as a dictatorship. And that should not be allowable. So I think Europe is in fear. However, I came to Italy yesterday and someone said to me, you know, I think, and they spoke for Europe saying, I think Europe thinks that Donald Trump is better for business. And I went, okay, why? Because he's a businessman who's crooked. He's a businessman who, you know, gained his fortune. What we don't know is probably mostly illegally, right? Getting tax cuts for the rich and all this. That's not a real businessman. That's a person who cares about themselves and their business. Now, I can't say that any of that, all of that's true, but from what we witness and what we know, we're dealing with someone who has is unethical. And so if someone's unethical, you know, and they've been convicted in that way, then you have to look and say, wait, this may not be the person to rule, to guide us. So I think that that it could get worse under Donald Trump, but he will tell us that it's going to get better. He is a master magician, right? Because he just tells you over and over again, if I keep saying to you, your jacket's black, your jacket's black, your jacket's black, and you turn to me and say, well, it really is just dark brown. Oh no, but it's black, right? Because from where I'm sitting, it's black, and I'm gonna make you believe it's black, and then look at your jacket now, isn't it black? Oh yeah, it's black. You get tired of me pounding on you saying your jacket's black. I know that's black. You have a problem with your eyes, right? And eventually you just give up. And you go, yeah, this is not blue, pinstripe, it's really black, right? That's what's happening to us. And it's unfortunate. We would hope that we'll have a period of struggle, even if the Democrats get back in, to right the ship. We do hope. I'm not against Republicans or Democrats. I'm against the fact that both parties are coming to the middle and are very much alike.
Perfect. Thank you very much, sir.